The Crimson Circuit was a place where hope came to die. It floated in the darkness of space, orbiting a star that had burned red with age. Inside its metal walls, creatures from 1,000 worlds screamed for blood. They paid fortunes to watch others fight. They paid even more to watch them die. Elena Vasquez had never planned to see this place. 3 weeks ago, she had been a scientist studying alien plant life on a quiet moon. Then the slavers came. They killed her colleagues. They took her. And now she sat in a cold cell, waiting to become entertainment for monsters. The gods called her the human. They said it like a joke. To them, she was nothing. A small, soft creature with no claws, no scales, no venom. Easy prey. A gift for their champion. She heard him before she saw him. The crowd above her roared his name. Corax! Corax! The sound shook the walls. It made the other prisoners in their cells curl up and weep. Elena did not weep. She sat on the floor and listened. The door to the cell block opened with a hiss. Heavy footsteps followed. Then silence as something massive blocked the light. Corax Vendel stood 8 feet tall. His body was covered in scales the color of night. 4 arms hung from his shoulders, each one thick with muscle. His face was flat, with 2 large eyes that glowed like dying embers. Along his spine, sharp ridges rose like knives. From his wrists, thin spikes dripped with pale venom. He was beautiful in the way a hurricane is beautiful. Terrible. Unstoppable. Final dot around his neck. He wore a chain of bones. Trophies from the Deathworlders he had killed. Elena recognized some of them from her xenobiology studies. A Krath finger bone. A Vorn tusk. The curved claw of a Thasic. Each one came from a species whose homeworld was classified as deadly. Each one had fallen to this creature. Corax walked slowly past the cells. He stopped at each one to look at the prisoners inside. Some begged. Some screamed. Some simply stared with empty eyes. He enjoyed all of it. When he reached Elena's cell, he tilted his head. His ember eyes studied her. "So small," he said. His voice was deep, like stones grinding together. "So fragile." Elena looked up at him. She did not stand. She did not beg. She simply watched him the way she had watched countless alien specimens in her career. This seemed to amuse him. "You do not fear me, little mammal?" he asked. "I am deciding if I should," Elena said. Corax laughed. The sound was harsh and cold. "I have battled Deathworlders before. A Krath with claws that could cut through metal. A Vorn whose bite carried poison that killed in seconds. Even one of the dreaded Thasic, whose people conquered 12 star systems before anyone could stop them." He leaned closer to the bars. His breath smelled like copper and rot. "Your bones will join theirs," he whispered. "I will wear you around my neck, human. A new trophy. A new story to tell." Elena remained still. Her eyes moved across his body. She noted the way he held himself. She saw which muscles were strongest. She watched how he breathed. She calculated. "The Krath," she said quietly. "How long had it been in captivity before you fought it?" Corax blinked. No one asked him questions. What? The Krath. Was it fresh from its homeworld? Or had it been held here for weeks? Months? I do not see why that matters. It matters, Elena said. The Krath are ambush predators. Their strength comes in short bursts. After a few weeks in standard gravity without proper food, their muscles begin to waste. The one you fought was probably half as strong as it should have been. Corax's eyes narrowed. You know nothing. I know a lot, Elena said. It is my job to know. The Vorn you killed, was it alone? Vorn hunt in packs. A single Vorn separated from its family becomes confused. Frightened. Easy to kill. Enough. The Thasic, Elena continued, her voice calm. How old was it? Young Thasic are aggressive but clumsy. The old ones are patient and deadly. I'm guessing yours was young. Korax slammed his fist against the bars. The metal rang like a bell. You will die tomorrow, human. Slowly. Painfully. I will make sure of it. Elena finally stood. She was short compared to him. Her head barely reached his chest. But she looked up at him without fear. Maybe, she said, but you have never fought a real Deathworlder. You have fought broken prisoners, starved captives, confused children. You have no idea what you are facing tomorrow. Korax stared at her for a long moment. Then he laughed again, but this time there was something else in the sound. Something that might have been doubt. Rest well, little mammal, he said. It will be your last night alive. He walked away. His footsteps faded. The cell block fell silent. The prisoner in the next cell, a small creature with gray fur and large eyes, pressed against the bars. You should not have said those things, it whispered. He will make you suffer now. He will take his time. Good, Elena said. That means he will be emotional. Emotional fighters make mistakes. You cannot win. No one wins against Korax. Elena sat back down on the cold floor. She closed her eyes and began to breathe slowly and deeply. Her heart rate lowered. Her muscles relaxed. She was saving her energy. Tell me something, she said without opening her eyes. What is the gravity on this station? Standard galactic, the creature said. 0.7 of the human standard, I think. Why? Elena smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. 0.7. That meant she would be lighter here. Faster. Every jump would carry her higher. Every step would cost less energy. She had trained her whole life in Earth's heavy pull. Here, she would move like a ghost. No reason, she said. The creature stared at her for a long time. Then it pulled back from the bars and curled up in the corner of its cell above them. The crowd continued to chant, Korax, Korax. Elena listened to the sound and felt something strange growing in her chest. It was not fear. It was not hope. It was hunger. Tomorrow, she would teach this station what a Deathworlder really was. Tomorrow, she would show them why Earth was classified as one of the most dangerous planets in the known galaxy. Tomorrow, she would remind the universe that her species had not clawed its way to the top of the food chain by being gentle. She slept well that night. She dreamed of home, of blue skies and green forests and oceans that went on forever, of a world that had tried to kill her ancestors every single day for millions of years. They had survived it all. One arena champion would not be a problem. 6 months passed. The galaxy changed. Elena sat in her small office on the research station above Kepler 442b. The room was filled with plants from a dozen different worlds. Some of them glowed softly in the artificial light. Others moved their leaves to follow her as she walked. One of them, a gift from a grateful colleague, produced oxygen that smelled like roses. She was happy here. She was doing the work she loved. The nightmares about the arena came less often now. Sometimes she could go whole weeks without thinking about blood and sand and ember eyes. Her computer chirped. A message had arrived. Elena opened it and read the sender's name. She sat back in her chair, surprised. It was from a journalist on the Central News Network. He wanted to interview her about the fight. Again, the 100th request this month. She deleted it without responding. She had stopped giving interviews months ago. The attention made her uncomfortable. She was a scientist, not a celebrity. But the interview requests kept coming, because the video of her fight had spread across every network in the galaxy. Billions of creatures had watched the human scientist dismantle the undefeated champion. Billions more had heard the stories. Everything had changed after that day. On a station 3 star systems away, a group of slavers looked at their cargo list. There were 12 humans scheduled for capture on a colony world. Easy targets, they had thought. Valuable merchandise. They crossed the names off the list. Found new targets. Non-humans. Word had spread through the slaver networks. Humans were not worth the trouble. One human had destroyed a champion. What could 12 do? What could 100? The risk was too high. The profit was not enough. On another station, a trade ship received a distress signal. Pirates were attacking a transport vessel. The pirate's leader checked the registry of the ship. Human crew. He ordered his ships to turn away. Find another target. His second officer questioned the decision. The transport was rich with cargo. An easy score. The leader showed him the video. The video that everyone in the galaxy had seen. They do not stop, the leader said. They do not give up. They will chase you across the stars if you hurt them. They will find you. They will remember. The second officer watched the human woman break the champion's arms one by one. He watched her keep fighting after being poisoned. He watched her walk away from a creature twice her size, leaving him broken but alive. He agreed with his captain. Find another target. On the Crimson Circuit, the arena still operated. But it was different now. The crowds were smaller. The fighters were less eager. And there were no more humans in the cells. Corax von Dome no longer fought. His arms had healed, mostly, but something else had broken that day. Something that could not be repaired with medicine or time. He worked as a consultant now. Species from across the galaxy paid him to explain what Deathworlders could really do. He told them about endurance and persistence and the terrible patience of predators who could run forever. He told them about mercy that cut deeper than any blade. A reporter came to interview him one day. The same reporter who had wanted to speak with Elena. When Elena refused, he went to the next best source. What did you learn from the fight? The reporter asked. Corax was silent for a long moment. His ember eyes stared at nothing. We call them Deathworlders because their worlds are death, he finally said. We assumed that meant they were victims. Survivors of terrible places. Weak creatures who got lucky. He touched the scar on his chest where Elena had struck him. We were wrong. They are not victims of their worlds. They are masters of them. They did not just survive the death. They conquered it. They bent it to their will. The reporter wrote quickly. And the human who defeated you? What would you say to her if you could speak to her again? Corax thought about this for a long time. Thank you, he said finally, for showing me what I was, for letting me live to become something better. The interview spread across the networks. More creatures watched. More creatures learned. On Earth's moon, the Galactic Council held its annual meeting. The question of human membership had been debated for years. Some species wanted to restrict them. Others wanted alliance. Most were simply afraid that an elder counselor, 3,000 years old, listened to the arguments. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had watched species burn themselves to extinction. He had learned to recognize the dangerous ones. When the debate ended, he rose to speak. I have lived a long time, he said. I have seen many species claim to be the strongest, the smartest, the most dangerous. Most of them are gone now, dead and forgotten. He looked around the chamber at the gathered representatives. The species that survive are not the strongest. They are not the smartest. They are the most adaptable, the ones who can change, the ones who can endure. He activated a hologram. Elaine's face appeared, taken from the arena footage. I have never seen a species more adaptable than humanity. They live everywhere. They eat everything. They survive what should kill them and come back stronger. And when they have every reason to destroy, they sometimes choose to show mercy instead. He deactivated the hologram. We should not fear them. We should welcome them. Because one day, The galaxy will face a threat that we cannot defeat alone. And when that day comes, I want the humans standing beside us, not against us." The vote was held. The motion passed. Earth was welcomed into the council, not as a junior member, but as an equal dot in her office above Kepler 442b. Elena received another message. This one was different. It came in a small package that the station's mail drone delivered to her door. Inside was a single scale, black as night, smooth as glass. A Cytherian scale, one of Carax's own, freely given. A note was attached. The handwriting was clumsy, written by someone not used to human letters. "You were right. I never understood what I was fighting. Thank you for the education." K.V. Elena held the scale in her palm. It was warm, even now, months after it'd been removed. Some species believed that giving a scale was the highest form of respect. An acknowledgement of equals. She placed it on the shelf beside her desk, next to a photograph of Earth taken from orbit. The blue marble hung in black space, beautiful and deadly in home. She looked at it for a long time. "That is my death world," she whispered, "and I love every deadly centimeter of it." Outside her window, stars burned in the endless dark. Somewhere out there, species were learning to respect humanity. Pirates were choosing other targets. Slavers were finding other victims. The galaxy was beginning to understand what Deathworlders really were. Not victims, not survivors. Not even warriors, really not just humans. Stubborn, adaptable, relentless humans. Capable of terrible violence and incredible mercy in equal measure. Elena smiled and turned back to her plans. She had work to do, research to complete, life to live, but somewhere in the back of her mind, she knew the truth. Humanity's story in the galaxy was just beginning. There would be other challenges, other tests, other moments when her species would have to prove what they were made of. And when those moments came, they would be ready, because that was what humans did. They endured, they adapted, they survived, and they never, ever forgot. The arena was a circle of sand and stone. Bright lights hung above it like artificial suns. Around its edges, thousands of creatures sat in rising seats, their voices mixing into one great roar of excitement. They had paid well for this show. They expected blood. Elena walked out from the fighter's gate. The sand was warm under her bare feet. They had given her simple clothes, a gray shirt and shorts. Nothing else. No armor. No weapons. Across the arena, the champion's gate opened with a boom. Korax stepped out into the light. The crowd screamed his name. He raised all four arms in triumph, turning slowly so everyone could see him. His scales gleamed. His bone trophies rattled against his chest. Then he looked at Elena and laughed. "Look at this," he shouted to the crowd. "They sent me a child. A soft little thing with no claws, no fangs, no venom. This is an insult." The crowd laughed with him. Some threw food into the arena. Others made rude gestures. Elena ignored them all. She was looking at the ground, at the walls, at the lights. She was measuring distances, calculating angles, planning that an announcer's voice boomed across the arena. Today's match. The undefeated champion of the Crimson Circuit, slayer of 3 Deathworlders, the terror of 12 systems, Korax Vindel. The crowd went wild. Against him, a captured specimen from the Deathworld called Earth, a scientist. An easy victory for our champion. More laughter, more cheering. A horn sounded. The match had begun. Korax did not rush at her. He was too confident for that. He walked slowly across the sand, his forearms swinging loosely at his sides. He wanted to enjoy this. He wanted the crowd to enjoy it too. Elena began to circle. She moved to her left, keeping the same distance between them. Her steps were light. Quick. She was testing the ground, feeling how her body moved in the lower gravity dot. It felt good. Very good. Running already? Corax called. I thought humans were supposed to be brave. Elena did not answer. She kept circling. Corax grew bored. He lunged forward, his upper right arm sweeping toward her head. It was a lazy attack, meant to frighten rather than kill. Elena ducked under it. She moved faster than he expected. By the time his arm passed through empty air, she was already 2 steps to his left. Corax paused. His ember eyes blinked. Quick, he admitted. But speed will not save you. He attacked again, this time with more focus. His lower arms grabbed at her while his upper arms slashed. It was a good combination. Most opponents would have been caught. Elena was not most opponents. She dropped low, letting his grabbing arms pass over her. Then she rolled to the side, coming up on her feet 3 meters away. Sand flew from her shoulders. The crowd fell a little quieter. This was not how the match was supposed to go. Corax's face twisted. He was not angry yet, but he was getting there. He charged at her properly now, all 4 arms ready to strike. Elena ran. Not away from him, but in a wide circle around the arena. She kept the same distance, forcing him to chase her. Coward! Corax shouted. Face me. She did not face him. She ran out 1 lap around the arena. 2 laps. 3. Corax was breathing harder now. His species was built for quick fights. Short bursts of violence followed by rest. They were not built for chasing. Humans were. Elena's ancestors had hunted on the Great Plains of Africa. They did not have the speed of a cheetah or the strength of a lion. But they had something better. They could run forever. They would chase their prey for hours, for days, until it collapsed from exhaustion. Then they would kill it. This ability was written into every cell of Elena's body. Her heart pumped blood efficiently. Her skin released sweat to keep her cool. Her legs were designed for distance. Not sprints. She could do this all day. Corax could not. He stopped in the center of the arena, breathing hard. His chest heaved. His arms hung heavy at his sides. Stop running, he bellowed. Fight me. Elena stopped. She turned to face him. She was breathing faster than normal, but she was far from tired. Do you want to know something about the Deathworlders you killed? She asked. Corax spat on the ground. I do not care about the dead. You should, because you did not defeat them. You defeated prisoners. The Kreth you fought had been in a cell for 2 months. Its muscles had turned to water. The Vorn was separated from its pack and driven half-mad with loneliness. The Thasic was barely more than a child. Lies. Truth, Elena said. You have been fighting broken creatures and calling yourself a champion. You have never faced a Deathworlder who knew what she was, who was ready. She stepped toward him. For the first time, Corax stepped back. I am from Earth, Elena said. My world has been trying to kill my species for 4 million years. We have survived ice ages and volcanic winters. We have survived predators and plagues. We have survived ourselves, which is the hardest thing of all. She took another step. Corax's venom spikes rose from his wrists. Your species reaches maturity in 5 years and lives for maybe 50. Mine takes 20 years to fully grow and lives for 100. Do you know why we are so slow? Because surviving on Earth takes time to learn. Every human child must be taught 1,000 ways to not die. Another step. They were close now. Close enough to touch. You think you are a predator, Elena said. But you have never met a real one. Corax struck. Both upper arms came down in powerful blows aimed at her skull. Elena stepped inside his reach. His arms hit nothing but air. She drove her elbow into his side, right where she had noted a gap in his scales the night before. Korax grunted in pain. He swung his lower arms around to grab her, but she was already gone. Dancing back across the sand, a thin line of dark blood ran down his side. The crowd was completely silent now. Korax touched the wound. He looked at the blood on his fingers. Then he looked at Elena with new eyes. There was no more laughter in them. No more contempt. There was the beginning of fear. "What are you?" he whispered. Elena smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a creature whose ancestors had painted their faces with ash and hunted in the dark. It was the smile of a species that had domesticated wolves and turned them into pets. It was the smile of Earth. "I told you," she said. "I am a Deathworlder. A real one. And your education has just begun." She raised her hands and beckoned him forward. Korax charged. The fight continued on, but now, for the first time in 200 matches, the champion was not sure he would win. 20 minutes had passed. The match was supposed to be over by now. Every fight Korax had ever won ended in less than 10, but Elena was still standing. And Korax was beginning to break. His breath came in great ragged gasps. His forearms no longer moved with grace. They swung wildly, desperately. Sweat and something darker dripped from his scales. His muscles burned with fire that would not go away. Elena circled him like a shark in dark water. She was bleeding from a cut on her forehead. Her left arm had a deep scratch from one of his claws. Her ribs ached from a blow that had landed early in the fight, but she was smiling. The pain did not matter to her. Pain was just information. Her body was telling her things, and she was listening. The cut on her head had already started to clot. Her blood was thick with platelets, eager to seal wounds. The scratch on her arm was shallow. It would heal in days. The ribs were bruised, not broken. She could fight through bruised ribs. She had fought through worse. "You look tired," she said to Korax. "Do you need to rest?" He roared and charged at her. His upper arms came down like hammers. Elena sidestepped, letting the blows crash into the sand where she had been standing. Before he could recover, she darted in and drove her fist into his knee. Korax stumbled. His leg nearly gave out. "This species burns energy too fast," Elena said, circling again. "You are built for quick kills. Ambush predators. But I made you chase me. I made you swing at air. Now you are running on empty." She was not even breathing hard. Korax straightened with effort. His ember eyes were filled with hate. "You cannot hurt me enough to win. You are too weak. Too soft. Am I?" She moved forward. Not running. Walking. Each step was calm and measured. Korax threw a punch. Elena caught his wrist with both hands and twisted. The joint popped. Korax screamed. She released him and stepped back before his other arms could grab her. "That was your lower left arm," she said. "The tendons are torn now. You will not be able to grip with it." Korax cradled the damaged arm against his body. His face was twisted with pain and disbelief. No one had ever hurt him like this. No one had ever made him feel small. "Your species does not heal quickly," Elena continued. "A wound like that will take months to repair. If you keep fighting, you will make it worse. Shut up." He lunged with his remaining good arms. Elena ducked under the first strike and jumped over the second. In the lower gravity, she flew through the air like she had wings. She landed behind him and kicked the back of his already damaged knee. Korax fell. His knee hit the sand hard. He tried to rise, but his body would not obey. The crowd watched in stunned silence. Some had stopped breathing. "Let me tell you about Earth," Elena said, walking slowly around the kneeling champion. "My planet has creatures that can kill with a single bite. We have spiders whose venom dissolves flesh. We have fish that carry enough poison to kill 20 adults. We have jellyfish so dangerous that swimming near them can stop your heart. She paused in front of him. Do you know what humans do with these creatures? We study them. We swim in their waters. Some of us keep them as pets. We have spent millions of years building resistance to the deadliest poisons in the galaxy. Corax's eyes went wide. His wrist spikes rose, dripping with pale venom. It was his last weapon. His final trick. He struck like a snake, driving the spikes toward her throat. Elena did not dodge this time. She let the spike graze her arm, leaving a thin line of venom in her skin. Corax laughed through his pain. Fool, my venom kills in minutes. You have lost. Elena looked at the wound. The skin around it was already turning red. It burned like fire. The venom was working its way into her blood dot. She wiped the wound with her other hand and kept walking. Your venom is a neurotoxin, she said. It attacks the nervous system, causing paralysis and then death. Very effective against most species. The burning spread up her arm. Her fingers began to tingle. But human nervous systems are strange things. We have been poisoned by our own world for so long that our bodies have learned to fight back. My liver is already breaking down your toxin. My immune system is attacking it. In 20 minutes, I will have a headache. In an hour, I will be fine. Corax stared at her. The color drained from his face. That is impossible. No, Elena said. That is Earth. That is what it means to come from a real death world. She flexed her tingling hand. The venom hurt. It slowed her down a little. But it would not kill her. Her ancestors had eaten mushrooms that could stop hearts. They had drunk alcohol that would poison most species. They had built tolerance to 1,000 different venoms across 1,000,000 years of evolution. One alien toxin was nothing. Elena stepped forward. Corax tried to swing at her, but his arms were too slow, too weak. She grabbed his upper right shoulder and pushed. His joint popped. Another arm disabled. He screamed and fell forward onto the sand. 2 arms left, Elena said. Do you want to continue? The crowd was making noise now, but it was not cheering. It was a low, confused murmur. They had come to see a slaughter. They were seeing one, but the wrong creature was doing the slaughtering. Corax pushed himself up with his 2 remaining arms. His body shook with exhaustion and pain. Blood and venom dripped onto the sand. I will not yield, he gasped. I am the champion. You were the champion, Elena corrected. You were the champion because you fought prisoners who were already half dead. You were the champion because no one here understood what Deathworlders really are. She crouched down to look into his eyes. We are not victims of our worlds. We are their masters. We did not survive Earth by being weak. We survived by being the most stubborn, most adaptable, most relentless creatures our planet ever produced. She stood up. Your education is almost complete. One lesson remains. Corax looked up at her with eyes full of fear. Real fear. The kind of fear that prey feels when it realizes there is no escape. What lesson? He whispered. Elena did not answer. She simply waited. The hunt was almost over. The prey was almost finished. All that remained was the final strike. But Elena was not sure she wanted to make it, because the last lesson was not about strength or speed or poison. It was about something else entirely. Something that separated humans from the other predators of the galaxy. It was about mercy. And that was the most frightening lesson of all. 45 minutes. The longest match in the history of the Crimson Circuit. And it was almost over. Corax lay in the sand. His body was broken in ways that would take years to heal. 2 of his arms hung useless at his sides, their joints destroyed. His knee was shattered. His scales were cracked and bleeding in a dozen places. His venom glands were empty. He could not stand. He could barely breathe. Above him, Elena stood in the artificial light. She was covered in blood, some of it hers, most of it his. The cut on her forehead had stopped bleeding. The scratch on her arm was already scabbing over. The venom in her system had faded to a dull ache. She was tired. Her muscles burned. Her lungs worked hard to pull in air. But she was standing. She was alive. She had won. The arena was silent. Thousands of creatures sat in their seats, unable to speak. They had come to watch a human die. Instead, they had watched something impossible. Elena looked down at the broken champion. His ember eyes stared up at her, waiting for the killing blow. Waiting for death. "Do it," he whispered. "Finish it." Elena did not move. "You want to know what I am," she said. "I will tell you." She knelt in the sand beside him, close enough to touch. "I am an omnivore. I can eat plants and meat and things that would poison half the species in this arena. My people drink alcohol for fun. We eat capsaicin, the chemical that makes peppers burn, because we enjoy the pain. We consume theobromine, which can kill many animals, in a candy we call chocolate." Corax listened. He had no choice. "I can run for days without stopping. My ancestors used to chase animals across open plains until the animals died from exhaustion. We did not have claws or fangs. We had patience. We had endurance. We would follow our prey for hours, for days, never stopping, never resting, until it collapsed and we could kill it with simple stones." She touched the sand beside his face. "I can survive temperatures that would kill you in hours. Humans live in frozen wastelands where the air itself can burn skin. We live in deserts where the sun can cook flesh. We live everywhere on our planet, from the highest mountains to the deepest valleys, because we refuse to die." Her voice grew softer. "I can hold my breath for minutes. I can function without sleep for days. I can lose blood that would kill other creatures and keep fighting. My bones, when they break, grow back stronger than before. My skin, when it scars, becomes tougher than the original." She leaned closer. "And I am not special. I am not a warrior. I am a scientist. I spent my life studying plants and animals. I have never trained for combat. I have never killed anyone before today." Corax's eyes widened. "Imagine," Elena said, "what our soldiers are like. Imagine what our warriors can do. Imagine facing a human who has spent their entire life learning to fight." Corax closed his eyes. A sound escaped his throat. It might have been a sob. "Kill me," he said. "Please, just kill me." Elena stood up. She looked down at the broken champion for a long moment. Then she shook her head. "No." Corax's eyes opened. Confusion filled them. "What?" "I am not going to kill you." The crowd stirred. Whispers spread like fire through dry grass. "You have to," Corax said. "That is how it works. The winner kills the loser. That is the law of the arena." "Your law," Elena said. "Not mine." She stepped back from him. "Killing you would be easy. You are broken. You cannot fight. I could crush your throat with my foot or snap your neck with my hands. It would take seconds." She shook her head again. "But death is too simple. Death ends the pain. Death lets you escape what happened here today." She turned and looked at the silent crowd. "I want you to live. I want you to remember this moment for the rest of your life. Every morning when you wake up, you will remember the day a human scientist defeated you. Every night when you try to sleep, you will see my face." She looked back at Corax. "I want you to tell others what happened here. I want you to explain what a real Deathworlder can do. I want you to be a warning to everyone who thinks humans are weak." Corax stared at her. Tears ran from his ember eyes, cutting tracks through the blood and dirt on his face. "Why?" he asked. "Why show mercy? I would have killed you." I would have enjoyed it. Elena smiled. It was a strange smile, sad and tired and somehow gentle. Because that is the other thing humans are, she said. We are not just predators. We are not just survivors. We are also capable of choosing not to destroy. We can look at a broken enemy and decide that enough is enough. She touched the bone necklace that still hung around his neck. The creatures you killed, the Kreth, the Vorn, the Thasic, they had families. They had hopes. They were someone's children, someone's friends. You took all of that away because you could, because it made you feel powerful. She pulled her hand back. I will not be like you. I will not kill simply because I can. That is the difference between us. That is what makes humans truly dangerous. She turned and began to walk toward the arena exit. Wait, Korax called weakly. Where are you going? Elena paused. She looked back over her shoulder. Home, she said. Eventually. First, I will walk out this arena. Then I will find a way off this station. And then I will return to Earth and never think about you again. They will not let you leave. The masters of the arena will let me go, Elena said. Because right now, every creature in this station is asking themselves the same question. If one human scientist can do this, what could a human army do? She smiled that strange, sad smile again. They will let me go because they are afraid. And they should be. She walked to the arena gate. The guards there stepped aside without a word. They did not meet her eyes. Behind her, Korax lay in the sand, broken and alive. The crowd sat in silence, watching her go. The announcers had stopped speaking. There was nothing left to say. Elena stepped through the gate and disappeared into the shadows beyond. The champion of the Crimson Circuit lay alone in the arena, staring up at the artificial lights. He would live. He would heal, slowly and painfully. He would carry the scars of this day forever. And every time someone asked him about his famous victories, he would have to remember the human who showed him mercy. The scientist who broke him and chose not to finish the job. That was the cruelest wound of all. Because he knew, deep in his heart, that she was right. Death would have been easier. Death would have been escape. Instead, she had given him something far worse. Thought she had given him the rest of his life to remember what he had learned.